This is Freshly Pressed On, the Smooth Breakfast. This Feel Good Friday morning on Smooth 98.1. I love music, love life. It's 31 minutes past 7 a.m. It's a beautiful morning. It's not raining, well, as of now. It's not really, as far as I know. It could be a different story outside because in the studio, you have no idea what's going on the outside. But it's a beautiful, beautiful morning. Great way to start the day. Welcome to the final installment of the show for this week, where we're going to take a look at the stories and the headlines, the papers, and of course, analysis and your contributions as well. My name is Ayokunmi, and great to have you join us once again. Always a pleasure to be here to bring you the news stories and just to get through everything that we need to know. Join us on WhatsApp and on YouTube as well. Now, on WhatsApp, the number remains 0809 444 0981. 0809 444 That is the WhatsApp number. Leave your messages there. Also, leave your messages on YouTube. You can find us at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Just leave your comments in the chat box there. Boom, I'll get to them alongside the WhatsApp messages. That I promise you. Promise, promise, promise. Anyways, joining me to walk through the stories and analyze and, of course, give perspective, because that is very key to what we do here. AB Bozimo and, of course, Joseph Obari are with us this morning. Good morning to you, AB.
Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Joseph, and good morning to all of the wonderful listeners out there. It's been a dramatic week, and we hope we can round it off in a manner that makes us proud to contribute to this world.
Yes, indeed. Morning to you, Joseph.
Thank you, Ayo. Good morning. It'd good to see you. Good morning. And listeners, you're all welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for taking the time out, as always, to be here, because we have interesting things to get through on the lineup for this morning. As always, there's always one thing or the other for us to sink our teeth into, and it's no different. Let's start in the Punch newspaper, AB, and this one made the news sometime yesterday, and it had a couple of people talking. And it says President Bola Tinubu has approved the renaming of the University of Maiduguri in Borno State as the Muhammadu Buhari University. Earlier, the president paid a glowing tribute to Buhari, describing him as a good man, a decent man, an honorable man, whose legacy of discipline, patriotism, and moral uprightness would endure for generations. And reflecting on his time in office and his long military and civil service, Tinubu praised the leader's simplicity, humility, and strict resistance to the trappings of power as well. So this has actually happened here. University of Maiduguri has been renamed to the Muhammadu Buhari University in honor of the late former president who passed away on Sunday. And of course, things have been said back and forth over whether or not this should have been done, whether other monuments and so on could have been renamed instead of the University of Maiduguri. But I'm sure there was some thought process to this. Is this a big deal at all, AB, or is this just is this something that we probably could have been or should have been expecting to happen?
Well, first of all, I think it's well within the authority of the president to, name institutions and other things like that as he deems fit, and he has chosen to do so. That's perfectly in order. I think that's primarily an administrative event. You could agree or disagree with it. That's neither here nor there. You don't have the authority to say yay or nay. I think that's how these things are done. That he chose to name that university after him. I think at one time, the late Buhari was the governor of the northeastern state or something, and so maybe that had
during
some
the
of the
military
roots
era,
as to why. So that may have been why he chose that place. But in a lot of what the president was saying during, let me start from the session. Having this special session for the past president too is also an administrative thing. It's perfectly nominal. They attended, they were all there. They painted great hagiographic pictures of the former president that I felt were a bit ironic, and I'll say why. The late president was, as I said, the governor of that region at one time. Look what has happened 60 plus or 40 plus years later. That region is a hotbed of unfortunate events. That is actually part of the legacy, because if when he was there, he had been much more focused on things like education and so on, productivity for the people, perhaps today it wouldn't be as difficult as it is over there. He was, I think, quote unquote, mates with people like Ogbemudia. Ogbemudia was in the Midwest. He made universities. Today, at least over there in Edo State and Bendel Delta, you don't have this kind of things happening. So that is part of the legacy. Then we talk about him being a good man, a decent man, an honorable man. Nobody knows. The good book says we don't know the heart of man from the face. We have a person who had all those titles, but I happen to have been a mid-teen when he first burst into public office as president. And I know immediately how the quality of life in Nigeria plummeted in 1983, December 31st. So I happen to have a completely diametrically different opinion about Buhari. In summary, while they have their right to have their say and paint all the pictures that they want inside the FEC place, they are insulated, they are air conditioned with no light, by the way. I'm sure it's all generator driven. After 65 years, we're sitting in a place, we have no sense of where we're going. Then they come up and start telling me stories about a person who objectively made life for Nigerians worse. President Bola Tinubu, say what you want. My opinion is that former President Muhammadu Buhari was a net negative to Nigeria. It is not saying he didn't do one or two or 13 good things, but he made Nigerians' lives, I will speak for myself, he made my life much worse. I witnessed the Andrew syndrome. Once he came, people left Nigeria. He left, 33 years, kept quiet, didn't print a single book, a single pamphlet. He didn't even print a business card that people can learn from. 33 years later, he comes back. People have started coming back to the country. He comes in, people leave again. That is not a person who I associate with much positivity. But again, the president has the right. He has chosen to do so. I cannot question it. He can rename universities after the man. In fact, on a lighter note, the only positive thing I'll take from that is that President Bola Tinubu did not rename Maiduguri University after President Bola Tinubu in honor of Buhari.
All right, thank you, Ibi, for sharing those thoughts. I can see Joseph having Joseph. Do you have a word to chip in to chip
Well,
in?
I think that well, the truth simply is that just like the president said, there was no pretense that Buhari was a perfect man in any way. So there were positives, there are negatives, and it's always the case with every leader. You do some good things, you do some wrong things. But historically, Buhari played some significant role in issues and development of that region, just like Ibi rightly pointed out. He was a military administrator of the former northeastern state, which covers Maiduguri area and the whole of that Borno area. And significantly, when in 1983, under Shehu Shagari, the Chadians invaded Nigeria and tried to seize some islands in the Lake Chad region. Muhammadu Buhari was the commanding general officer commanding 3 division JOS, and he was the one who led the repelling of the Chadians out of their incursion, drove them out of Nigeria during that incursion. So
Okay.
you may say that history has got something to do with this, maybe, and they successfully routed the Chadians and even chased them into Chad by about 50 kilometers or so. So it made a whole lot of headlines at the time. We're young, we heard the story. So for such a person who has played such role, you can say that, oh yeah, okay, it's actually not out of sync to recognize him and name a university after him in that region. Whatever else is besides the fact that, okay, yes, he did certain things right. Okay, it's not totally wrong. And like we have said, it's within the purview of the powers of the president to do so, to so do. So he has done it, and that's it.
Mm. All right, interesting
Just
thoughts
for the
there.
benefit of anybody who didn't quite hear me, I never said, hold on, Ayo, just for the listeners, I never said he did nothing right. I said net.
Yeah,
He had three
you said that
opportunities to
clearly.
affect Nigeria very well. He did a net, yes, a net negative job. Let's go.
All right, let's get your own thoughts as well. Share them with us on WhatsApp on 0809-444-0981. Ade Lagos says, with our rulers dying in foreign hospitals, the same hospitals they couldn't bill to take care of their illnesses, the same thing the president is doing presently in France. He's in Nigeria at the moment, chap. Just to put that out there. Continuing Buhari's legacy, Nigeria didn't get this bad until Buhari came into power in 2015. 8 wasted years of inflation, insecurity, economic disaster. Um, Adi, you sent this message, very similar one, a couple of days ago. It's more or less the same message. Right. Let me get back to the story. So the stories. All right, Joseph. Let's talk about what's been going on or what is going on concerning refineries. ADC are flexing their muscle right now. I mean, they seem to have arrived. I don't know. Anyways, this is coming out of the Vanguard, where it says that the African Democratic Congress, the ADC, has called for a comprehensive audit of Nigeria's refineries, following reports that nearly $18 billion has been spent by successive governments on rehabilitating the nation's three key refineries. Now, in a statement issued by the party's national publicity secretary and coalition spokesperson, that's Malambolaji Abdullahi, the ADC raised concerns about possible deception by the Tinubu administration, which recently committed over $2.8 billion to the refineries before labeling them as non-functional. Well, I mean, as we've heard recently, it's been said that the refineries, after so much investment into their maintenance turnaround and so on and so forth, they've been we've been told that they're non-functional, as it were. Now, the ADC is saying, hey, okay, we hear you on that, but so much money has been spent here. Before any talk about selling comes into play, you need to do an audit of those monies that were spent because you can't put that much money into a project and say, oh, it didn't work, we're selling. You can't do that. Or is this the ADC just playing the opposition card here, Joseph?
The way my reaction when I read this story was that the politicians, the political elite of Nigeria, they are just playing games with this country, with this future of citizens of that, particularly younger people of this country, because they are all the same people. The people talking now in ADC are not different from the people who are taking the decisions that have kept us where we are. If they have the opportunity, they will do the same thing or worse. So they should let them just shut up and just do whatever their politics is. Because the truth simply is that all of them in the political class are the same. Some of them took the decision, they are in a different party now. They were part of the government that took the decisions that brought us the refineries to where they are.
Mm,
The refineries were not being maintained. They were not being honestly maintained. Every time you hear they're doing turnaround maintenance, but it was fraudulent. It was a way to they were conduits for siphoning funds, public funds. So what is it they're saying now that is different? Would they have done anything different? The entire decisions that have brought us to where we are was taken by these same people, characters in different political parties at different times.
mm.
And then they turn around today and sound as if, oh, well, it's only APC that did it. And they are busy cross-carpeting, more jumping from one party to the other.
Same wine, new bottles.
So what's the point? It's just a cheap political scores, cheap political point by saying APC did this, that. Who is APC? Who is PDP? Who is what? They are the same people, a gang of criminals. I'm sorry to say it. Just reaping this country. It's just like your car. You cannot keep running your car You don't go for servicing. You buy the cheapest oil. You buy oil from the roadside to put into your car. You do all kinds of, you buy the cheapest part and all that. And then when the engine knocks, you now beautify the body of the car and dress it up to sell. Hey, they'll buy it as scrap. That car, glittering as it will look, we bought as scrap. That is where the refineries are now. Okay, so after all the money, so people, technocrats could not honestly tell the government that we've run these refineries down. When Obasanjo invited Shell to take over the refinery they built in Port Harcourt, the old Port Harcourt refinery, they declined because they said it was already obsolete.
And that was as far back as the mid 2000s.
Yeah, yeah. So now the point is that refineries built earlier than that in other parts of the world, in Texas, in other places, are still running. Why is it that ours went obsolete? Why? So we should stop these pretenses, scoring cheap political points by saying all these kind of things and face the reality where Nigeria is being mismanaged, is being ruined by politicians. That's where we are.
Unfortunately, that is where we are at this point in time. Tunde on WhatsApp says, I just want to remind us that virtually all the guys in the ADC have been part of the successive governments they are indicting. Exactly what Joseph alluded to. And I said the same thing. Same wine, new bottle. Well, maybe different bottle, not new bottle, different bottle is a better way to describe it. Not new bottle, because nothing new about what is going on in that regard. All right, keep those messages coming in on Facebook, sorry, on WhatsApp, beg your pardon, and on YouTube. I don't know why I'm thinking of Facebook this morning. I haven't been there in a little while. Anyways, AB, let's
Ayo.
Yes, sir.
Ayo is actually same poison, new bottle.
Ah, okay. Okay. AB says it.
That's even more apt.
All right, AB, let's talk about electricity matters, and we're going back to the punch. The federal government's electricity tariff subsidy jumped from 610 billion naira in 2023 to 1.94 trillion naira in 2024, according to a report by the Punch. Now, this represents a 219.67% increase in yearly subsidy funding, despite the Band A tariff hike of April 2024. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission and analysts observed that the subsidy figures rose following the floating of the naira by President Bola Tinubu in June 2024, as well as the removal of fuel subsidies, leading to high inflation rates. Now, according to the NERC, the federal government incurred a total electricity tariff subsidy of 1.94 trillion naira in 2024 to cover the shortfall between the cost reflective tariffs and the actual tariffs approved for customers. AB, I sigh deeply.
So, how does that affect your power? When the tariff was small, did you have power? When the subsidy is high, are you having power? Of what? This is one of those stories that has lots of numbers, lots of ratios, lots of formulae, lots of percentages. There are only two numbers in the whole story that I'm going to bother dealing with. Apparently, the federal government of Tinubu's Nigeria has paid 371.34 million with an M naira out of 1.94 trillion with a T naira, which translates to 0.019 of 1% settlement. Just look at that beautiful child you're doing school run with right now. They go to school. After the term, they come back and say, Daddy, I got 0.019% in my English, maths, science, everything. I'm sure none of us will be proud of that person. That is what the federal government is telling us that they are capable of paying 371 million, not even billion, million naira. And then Dangote, in part of the story, tells us that across their group, they alone, as an organization, are generating 1,500 mega. Let me get this number right, because it's the only number that matters. The rest of it is irrelevant in my view. Please forgive me. They are getting 1,500 when Nigeria is generating 4,500. So one individual company is able to generate 1,500, and Nigeria as a whole country is generating 4,500. And Dangote is making the very reasonable statement that if we alone, as a private company, can generate 1,500, why should the country not be generating between 50 and 60,000? Now, here's the thing. The dollar rate had an impact on it. I think one of the core things is mismanagement. Then the last thing is, in fairness, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, early in this administration, promulgated, or you tell me correctly, made a law that allows individual states to take over the power sector in their domain. As of right now, maybe 2 weeks ago, only 7 out of 36 states have actually taken a look at it. And of those, only 4 have put hands on it. The rest of them are just waiting for that end of month to enter a plane and go on to their governors forum meeting, where they sit down in committees that are focused on tea rather than committing to anything, and leaving their citizens in darkness. So, in fairness, the governors are at the core of electricity failure in Nigeria. Can you imagine if every state just generated 1 megawatt in 1 year? Would be at 1,000 megawatts, we are 36,000. But all of them are just ineffective. Just, I don't know what they do with their time, life, and money. But the long and short of it is that we're not paying the subsidy we're supposed to be paying. We're not getting the power. And I go back to my first question: of what effect is anything in this story to the life of the average Nigerian? Absolutely nothing has changed. We don't have reliable power. And this story does not give me any solutions. I've given a solution. Every governor generate 1,000 megawatts in the next 12 months. We will leap from the 4,500 to 40,000 in 1 year. Even give it a 4-year term, 250 per year. We'll be at 1,000 every 4 years. But what are these wastrels doing? Nothing useful. Yes, I call the governors wastrels, not themselves, but their activities are the activities of wastrels.
Joseph, this story actually just reminded me of the issues you talked about last week concerning power.
It's very sad that this just forebodes greater darkness for us, because there is no way out.
Honestly,
you see the politicians
honestly,
who claim that they don't have enough money to settle government bill to generate the government company generating electricity, the entire value chain is in distress because the government is possibly owing about 6 trillion to the companies, and the companies themselves, and because of that, the government doesn't have the balls to deal with the distribution companies that are doing terrible things, because they are friends who they came to take a capital intensive investment without money. And now consumers have to subsidize their business for them. So you buy a transformer and they say you collect the payment back. Or they could just arbitrarily slap you with bills and call it in the name of what they call
estimated billing.
So all kinds of criminal things are happening, and you have a minister who sits down there and just tells you, well, just expect that some things will happen and this will happen.
Put off your fridge.
Just talks
Put off
anyhow.
your fridge. That's what the minister's
brilliance. Turn off your fridge.
Put off your fridge.
So that is a problem.
Such insight
These people have enough money to share, to run around, to buy yacht, to buy the fleet of cars and jets and so on. But where it matters most, it is critical to the economic development of this country, they don't put their money there. They don't put the money there. So they're telling Nigeria doesn't have the money for this
Don't
kind of
forget,
important thing, but they have the money for junketing around the world, traveling 200 times in a
don't
year.
forget, don't forget the wardrobe allowance. What would an emperor be if they were not clothed?
Man,
Well,
forget it. Discussing Nigeria sometimes can just depress you. Can
but
truly.
hey,
It can
here,
depress.
here we are each and every single morning talking about these issues. How I do it, I don't know, but I just do. Let me take some messages on WhatsApp before I come, come back to you, Joseph. Tony Nisola says, when the APC was formed in 2014, 2013, actually, 2013, yeah, its leading figures such as Amechi, El Rufai, Kwakwaso, and so on had been members of the PDP. Why did that not stop Nigerians from voting for the APC in 2015? Okay, Emeka Nkechi says,
Did your vote count? Did it bring them to power?
well,
That's the
uh,
point. That is really the point. They know that they don't need you to be in power. They don't need you.
Emeka Nkechi says, why rename university after Buhari when he went to court over his educational certificates and schools attended? Why not name military schools and airports after him? Okay, he even when when did he kill students over drug-related problems, Emeka? I'm not
Or
aware of that
name
too.
name WAEC headquarters after him. Maybe they can name WAEC headquarters after him since
Who pretend certificate for you?
exactly.
Okay, Sammy in Ojodu says here, Ayo, the bottles haven't changed, just repackaged in new parties. So I'll say it's same poison, same repackaged bottle, not even a new bottle, repackaged bottle. Okay, this one is from, okay, there's no name attached to it. I wish I knew who sent this in. Okay, this is Kylie. Kylie says, good morning, gents. Happy Friday, I should say. Please do not allow these politicians upset you. They are not worth the trouble. I think AB said it best. These people are the same poison, different bottle. They have shown that they have nothing to offer. Such a pity. I still remain demure and ever mindful. Right. Thank you, Kylie, for your message. All right, Joseph. Let's jump into the premium times very quickly here and talk about Yaya Bello. He's back in the news. And this man so desperately wants to leave the shores of Nigeria. But hey, court says no. Anyways, the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Maitama, Abuja, on Thursday declined the former Kogi State Governor Yaya Bello's application for the release of his passport to enable him travel to the United Kingdom for medical reasons. Turning down the request in the ruling, the judge, Marian Aneni, ruled that Mr. Bello's passport was not in the court's custody. She said the court could not give what it did not have. Therefore, the application is void, not just premature, but preemptive. Because of time, I'll let you dive into this one, Joseph. It's interesting. Yaya was a former governor of Kogi State. Why isn't he getting treatment in Kogi State? Also, it's very interesting that a lot of these public officials, when they have cases of alleged corruption, they seem to have one medical illness or the other magically just manifesting. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, these all are tactics to stall trial, delay it as much as possible, and create. But the moral issue is that this is a man who said he did so well for his state and built hospitals, and he couldn't build a hospital that can treat him. But it doesn't matter whether the hospital does exist or not, or there are hospitals that can treat him. He just wants to run away and put a spanner in the works of the judicial process. That's all what it is. They're all tactics. They're all delay tactics. Of course, today Fayoshe is a free man, so you can stall things as much as you can, and do bargainings that can eventually get you off the hook. So you never know if it's these cases are decided expeditiously, maybe the opportunity for you to get off the hook may not happen. But if you stall it enough, you may have the political room to wiggle out of the situation. So stall it as much as possible. And unfortunately, I must say that they work with lawyers as well to do all these things. So Yaya Bello it has been arraigned before a federal high court. which
Right.
is a court of coordinate jurisdiction as a high court of a state or FCT as it is. So he's being tried there, and his passport, he surrendered his passport there to that federal high court. Then all of a sudden, he has applied to that court for the release of the passport for him to travel. That court hasn't taken a decision. He goes to a FCT High Court to file application, knowing very well that his passport is not before that court. But what's the essence of that? And I think if I'm the judge, I would call disciplinary action for the lawyers that did such a thing, because you're just wasting the court's time. The passport is not before the court, it's in another court. That court has not taken it, has not ruled on that application. And then you jump to this court that does not have and the judge, of course, simply say, I don't have your passport. And you have it, your matter is somewhere else. It's not been decided. They are court. So what they wanted is possibly that this judge will make a pronouncement and then they will say it's binding on the other court. I don't understand how you will say it will work. But of course, maybe it's the way they work. My concern is for the lawyers who are manipulating the judicial system in this manner, in an unprofessional manner. And the judge didn't have a word for them. Because if I were a judge, I will reprimand these lawyers. You shouldn't walk out of that court without having a word from the judge for doing such a thing. And these are some of the things the NBA has to address seriously that calls to question the integrity of the legal profession. So it's sad. It's very sad.
Yes, indeed. Very sad indeed. If you're looking for the poster boy of running from pillar to post, I guess Yaya Bello is said poster boy. AB, very quick word so I can take messages.
Just two things. One, the reason why there's an urgency, it is summer, as you know, Dave, Joseph. And then number two,
that is true.
Since he's going for medical attention, in the recent news, there's been a vacancy in a hospital bed somewhere. So at least there's space for him now.
I also imagine there would have been space for him regardless. Anyways, goodness gracious. Let me run through messages here. Larry says, what we are seeing now is failure of institutions. We have been like this since independence. Until we rise, nothing will change in this country. This is Chika. Chika says, the renaming of University of Maiduguri after late PMB is another assault on education in Nigeria. How do you rename a university after a man who never attended one and who never made any tangible investment into one? But it's what it is. Why not rename a military barracks after him? Let the students resist it the way the students of Unilag resisted it back then. All right, I remember that one. Maulag. I remember that. Okay. This is from Victor. Victor says, Obasanjo that performed averagely better as a president never got a university named after him, or most universities be renamed posthumously, I guess. The current promoters of ADC were part and parcel of the last administration that brought Nigeria down economically in the worst way. Same poison and so on and so forth. Same Ayabide that just got married to his fourth wife wants to travel out for medicals. If he's sick, with what energy did he get a fourth wife with? Just have money. That's all you need, really. Just have money. The energy is a secondary thing. Michael says, estimated billing is a direct reading from the transformer shared equally among homes without meters. However, metered homes are still part of the reading taken directly from the transformers. Is this not a ripoff on estimated consumers? Big time as far as I'm concerned. Big time, big time, big time. Okay, let me just try to rush through the rest of the messages here. Bryce Adanokuda says, Nigeria's problem is leadership. Fix leadership and you fix Nigeria. All right, Jerry says, the same Buhari this Tinubu said a lot of unprintable things about in 2011. When suddenly did Buhari become a saint? APC up until today are blaming him for the supervised killings of innocent citizens and companies folding up and seeing people losing their jobs that they didn't create. Filled in the primary role of government, what good is he supposed to be remembered for? Gilbert Musa Investac says, I'm not in support of the name change concerning the University of Maiduguri. Historically, Tertiary institutions in the developed world have been named after people or persons who made significant contribution to education. But in Nigeria, we do things without considering the future impact, particularly our political elite. I support AB's opinion on this matter. This one says, the truth is our refineries are obsolete and as good as scrap. The same thing with our Ajokuta steel mill. That's a different story for another day. That's Ajokuta steel mill. It's as good as refurbishing an abandoned Peugeot 504 that was a king in the 70s and 80s, expecting it to drive smoothly to the standard of a 2025 vehicle. Now, that was a classic car. Dada in Ogba says, ADC may be acting as opposition now to score points. They are all the same. You remember the subsidy protest at Ojota? It was the beneficiaries that were saying it should not be removed. We are dealing with financial rapists here. I think there's conspiracy to ground this nation. Most of the governors have now don't. I'm trying to make sense of what you're saying here. They lack the vision on how to generate money apart from taxing already overtaxed citizens. They know where loans are cheap in the world. So many things are happening. Anyways, let's wrap it up. We've gone way over time, but I had to run through your messages. And on YouTube, Miriam Juma says it's just a political gimmick. That's in relation to Yahya Bello. All right. Thank you all so very much for all your messages. Thank you so much to you, AB, and of course Joseph, for making it an amazing Friday morning. Thank you so very much. AB.
Thank you very much, Ayo. Thank you very much, Joseph. And thank you all to the listeners. We deeply appreciate your time, attention, and patience. Have a wonderful weekend ahead, despite the shenanigans of all these jokers and those who act as wastrels of our collective patrimony.
All right, Joseph.
Yeah, thanks, Ayo. It's always a pleasure being here every Friday. It's a pleasure always, rich contributions, and then the listeners too. It's very exciting to always hear from you, and you keep it going. So have a wonderful weekend and stay safe.
All right, stay safe, everyone, and stay locked on Smooth 98.1, 8:15. It will be time to walk into the locker room where we talk about sports. So much more.